Welcome everybody into another episode of Always Chance It, brought to you by Real Chances Studio Network, a network that's nice as dice and full of opportunities. Today we have Evan Lim. Evan, tell people a little bit about yourself, man, and how we met.
Let's see. I was an area manager at Lost 2. I guess. Do you not work there anymore? I
Yeah,
tried checking that.
yes, dude, yeah.
Oh, you're still there? Okay. Oh my gosh.
I left, bro, and I came back. So yeah,
You went back. Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. So yeah, that's how we technically met. I was an area manager. Came in February of 2017, and just so happened to meet this fine gentleman right here.
Yeah. And tell the people what you were doing prior to that, which
So
which is why I brought you on.
gotcha. So I joined the military, the army specifically, in June of 2007, and I received a military scholarship in 2013, and then during the limbo phase in which I was actually going to go back into the army, that's when I got hired on by Amazon.
Okay.
So some people don't know that. I don't even think you knew that portion right there.
Nah.
Yeah, um, but as luck would have it, the army was like, "Yeah, we want you to come back." So that's what happened in January of 2018, is when I officially went back.
Okay. All right, man. So like the angle of this interview, I kind of wanna go with is this is a bonus episode. So I want to give artists, different creative entrepreneurs, whoever. I want to give them the perspective of what leadership looks like, and also the steps and journeys to being disciplined and then staying disciplined as well. So the first
Okay.
question. So the first question I want to ask you are what are some important traits it takes to lead, especially a large group of people.
I would absolutely say leading by example is one big one. One thing I noticed, especially when working at Amazon, is that I didn't know truly what you guys did as tier one associates, right? And I think everybody is going to be at a disadvantage, especially for those individuals that are going into brand new organizations, because the army does the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, the army actually has individuals that come straight out of college. It's kind of similar to what Amazon does, because you probably are, you know it better than I do, for example, of how much turnover we have, especially from the management side, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it just like one day you'll be like, okay, we have this one area manager, and then like maybe 4 6 months later, it's a brand new
So
one,
brand new
right?
one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and then that's where it was very very difficult for some, and like I think you remember Jennifer Garrison, right?
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
what her name was. Um, Obviously had some difficulties when she was an area manager, and unfortunately she was termed. But one major thing is the fact that for you to be a good leader, right? I can't just fake the funk, because you guys were very good at identifying um, certain shortcomings from other individuals, right? And
Yeah.
so that's why I would say right off the bat, though, it would absolutely be leading by example.
You say like you might not know what the people on tier one do, right? So in that situation, do you observe somebody on tier one and be like, all right, I know they doing it the right way. Let me kind of not put them over everybody, but kind of like make it aware that this is how do it like her or do it like him. But how do you
You get good vibes. Go ahead.
but how do you go about that though? Without because I feel like being a leader is all about managing ego. So how do you go about that without rubbing egos the wrong way? How do you go about saying that?
Having a very clear cut um, expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think now, granted, you didn't work completely in my department, right? Because of different shifts.
Yeah.
However, if you talk to anybody that did work on my shift, I was pretty clear cut. I stated like, hey, I'm not going to show favoritism. Those individuals that might be perceived to be placed in better situations than others, like I told them straight up, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And it sucks though that at least for tier one associates at Amazon, right? You are all gauged off a certain rate, right? Which is
Yeah,
like it's horrible. I absolutely dislike that about the organization, but I also understand why they do it, right? Because it's easier said than done, right? Hey,
definitely.
your rate is 43 packages per hour, right? And it's like, okay, well, if you don't make rate, right, then you pretty much suck,
Yeah,
right? And then of course, learning certain tricks, right, to kind of circumvent the system when grading or anything like that. Like those are the types of things that I would identify. But also in the same breath, and what you're asking about is I normally you had to be very careful about how you're doing your analysis, right? And that's
okay.
one thing. And I'm kind of giving some trade secrets right now, right? I'm normally very, very quiet at first, right? And some people might take it a different way, right?
Yeah,
Well, I'm actually observing a situation though. And
yeah,
like one thing that I know for a fact that I've learned over the years, especially in the military, right? You have to do a tactical pause and you have to observe a situation, right? Because you're going to have individuals that are going to have the perception to be um, strong associates, right? I'll just take it from the perspective of where you and I met, right?
yeah,
Where you would like say, hey, that associate, wow, they're high speed, right? But in the same breath, though, they come with certain
ways.
moral gaps and
Yeah,
ways of, and then like they're faking the funk, right? And
yeah,
that's one thing that, but it is very easy to identify, especially over time, though, right? So at least for me, though, in terms of trying to comb out all the egos that happen, right? Laying it down very, very clearly and strictly as well, though, right? Because what was here's another thing that came with it too. Evan is too militaristic. That was one of the things that I found out in my connection scores, right? Is
yeah,
that somebody said, "Oh," and I'm like, man, if I treated you guys like drill sergeants, right, in the military, I was like, that I could understand that, right? But
yeah,
to see that type of feedback though, like I was also open to it though, because I'm like, am I really acting militaristic? No, of
yeah,
course not, right?
yeah,
But in the same breath though, like I could kind of understand, and it was actually, especially with the small group that we had to work with, right? It's kind of easy to identify, and that's one of the shortcomings with it, at least with how we do things at Amazon, for example.
yeah.
But definitely though, the egos all time high, especially at Lost 2, right? Because
Definitely.
when we would go to Amazon's leadership training, like we went to Phoenix 8, for example, right? And some of the things that I witnessed there weren't the same when I went to Lost 2, and that just might be because of Lost Two's size, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's more like it's more a community there versus other Amazons. More just like it's
It's like a
huge.
nation.
Yeah, it's like yeah, huge. Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you. We're talking to the creatives now, right? So it's a lot of times within art, we tend to get an idea, jot it down, get it going, get all excited about it, and then it never pans out, or it don't pan out the way we envisioned it exactly. Um, and I think a part of that is maybe the idea wasn't never that good in the first place. And then another part of it is just not having enough discipline to execute it fully. So my question to you is just pretty much, man, uh, what does what does discipline look like?
Persistence. In my honest opinion, right? Discipline comes down to persistence, right? If you truly believe in discipline, right, then you're going to do it. But it has to come from within, right? But you have the persistent mindset for it. There's always going to be setbacks. I think there's going to be anybody that, especially with the followers that I've seen you interview, right, or other interviewees.
Yeah.
Um, the general consensus, though, is absolutely like people understand the struggle, right? However, some people don't know how to go past that, right? Because good things, right, are easy to come by, right? No, that
Hmm.
isn't the case. It's normally hard work.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that is what I would absolutely say to anybody, especially from the musical perspective, right? Everybody's doing it, especially in this day and age, right? Because social media is so prevalent that a lot of people are like, oh, okay, well, I'll go on to Instagram or I'll go on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And like, I think there's some unrealistic expectations, like what you're referring to, right? Like, I'm going to be, uh, the
Michael
next
Jackson.
Drake, right?
Yeah.
The next
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
And it's unrealistic though, because a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, it's absolute fire," right? And it's like, is it really though? Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think a lot of it comes down to being humble as well, though, right? That there's going to be individuals that are going to do things better than you, and
And it's and it, not to cut you off, but to piggyback on that, bro, it's gonna be a lot of people that's maybe telling you that because they see the potential and they want you to keep going till it get to the point that you know.
no,
So
absolutely.
yeah, it's a lot of that going on too. It's a lot of that.
And then once again, though, persistence, 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 right, is normally what I tell everybody, especially for individuals that are in uh, the artwork type of field, right? Whether or not it's music, filming, whatever the case may be, right? But being humble with persistence is like one of those yin and yangs, in my honest opinion, in terms of it, though, because you don't want to absolutely degrade someone's ability to work hard, right?
Yeah,
And that's the persistent side, but you also have to know your limitations as well, though. You might not be the best, right? Not all of us is like, I'm a horrible basketball player, right? And I absolutely love the Lakers, right? Even though like I'm more of a Kobe fan than LeBron, right?
yeah,
However, like I cannot deny the fact that LeBron is like an absolute freak, right? Freak of nature, though, that is absolutely destined to play basketball, right?
yeah, yeah,
And there's not going to be many people that are like him, right? And like, a lot of people get in the discussion like, oh, well, he's better than MJ or anything like that. It's like,
yeah, yeah. I don't know about
sure,
that one.
there. I
Yeah,
think now that if we really want into come to like a happy median, right? We could say they're all great, right? And that's the part that I'm getting at with a lot of individuals that do. They believe that they have a very, very good product, right? But then it's like, okay, it's not realistic though, right?
yeah.
You have to know your limitations to a certain degree. And that's not to say though that people can't get to that point. But persistence though, that is the key. Persistence comes in all forms though, right? That's how I
So
would describe it right there.
all right, so Evan, let me tell you this. There's somebody out there that's listening to that, and they're like, all right, who the hell is this guy that's telling me about discipline and this and that? So to shut them up, let's tell me some of the times you realized that you weren't being disciplined, and then also the turning point.
So there's okay. Here's a prime example, right? Uh, not many people know my background, right, and why I'm kind of more grounded than most.
Uh-huh.
Is that like everybody's gonna come from different walks of life, and when I tell people this story, people are like caught off guard. In your honest opinion, here I'm just gonna flip this just briefly on you, real quick, though, right?
Okay.
What do you think? How do you think my senior year of high school was like? Just for the sake of argument.
Um, I don't know. Probably like a sports guy, like Letterman. Getting letters for varsity. Different stuff like that. Who knows?
Okay, so not the case at all, right? Other than just my stereotypical background, right? Oh, good grades, good with computers, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
The standard Asian stuff, right? senior year was not that good to me, right? And that's just because of some poor decisions just from my side, right? Uh, Technically, beginning of senior year, I got kicked out of my home because I partied too much, and not many people know that. And I was actually legitimately homeless. And at the time, I was working at In and Out, and one of those things that led to another is that my soon-to-be best friend, he hit me up. Like, I came into work, right, and he's like, hey, what's up, man? And he's like, I told him, I was like, I mean, I'm pretty much homeless right now because I got kicked out of my home because I did stupid shit, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's like, oh shit, hey man, uh, I have a place in my room, right? I live with my grandmother, right, my mom, and etc. And like, all you would have to do probably is just meet them, and then maybe if it works out, you could live with us, and then sure enough, that's what happened.
yeah,
However, just from that side of the house, though, especially from the discipline, right? I mean, that is something that I absolutely had to learn very quickly,
uh,
because towards the end of senior year, um, I had to make a decision, right? I was like, do I join the military, for example? And just to kind of back up a little bit more too, my junior year, I went to a military school in Carlsbad, okay, in California, and did very well, especially for the typical Asian stereotypes, right? Like,
yeah,
got straight A's, right? However, it was an all boys school, right? And it was actually a boarding school, so that we actually stayed on the campus, right? And especially with the way in my immaturity, right? I was like, no, I'm not down with this anymore. So senior year, I was like, no, screw this. So that whole summer going into senior year, like, I went partying, all that kind of stuff, because like I was just stuck in a boarding school for a whole year
right,
with a whole
right,
bunch of dudes. It was an all boys boarding
yeah,
school. Okay.
yeah,
So I'm like, dude, fuck this. Like, no, absolutely no. And then sure enough, one bad decision led to another. And then my dad, I came home from partying, right? And then next to know, I put my key in the door, and then it's my key's not working. And I call him up. I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" He's like, "You're 18. Good luck."
wow,
So I was like, "All right,
yeah,
this is life now. Okay, cool." So flashback forward to the army decision though. Yeah, end of the senior year, I was like, "What the hell do I do?" Because at this point, I'm like, okay, I could go to a junior college, right? Still work at In and Out, or I just went to a boarding school that's army based, right? In terms of the curriculum and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, fuck it, join the army. That's all I could do right now. So
yeah,
sure enough, that's exactly what I did. And for any of your listeners that have served, for example, you learn very quickly that you are not the hot shit that you thought you were when you go into basic training,
yeah.
right?
That's
And
that's what a lot of people say about basic training. They say that once you go, it change you. And I actually been seeing like people go and come back and like they like I'm like all right, I'm like they didn't program him, but
you're conditioned, absolutely.
yeah, but I don't know. I feel like for some people the army saved their life though. Just the military and in total. But in other cases, I feel like some people don't have no business being there. I feel like they got to learn the discipline of the world before they can. That's why I don't know. I don't feel like I would ever join because I don't know. I can't do it, bro.
I and you know what? Especially in today's army, right? We're dealing with a lot of complications, right?
Yeah,
And I think it also comes along with kind of the climate that we have in the country right now, right? There's a lot of division, right? And it's unnecessary, because a lot of people don't understand that this is exactly what a lot of other people want to see us as America fail, right?
yeah,
And I think people lose sight of that, right? And then it just becomes like a very easy game to pit against each other, right? And a great parallel is like kind of the relations that happen at Lost 2, for example, right?
Yeah.
There's particular individuals which I just noticed. I'm still on the network, right? Because I technically still work for Amazon. And there's certain people that were promoted that I'm like, I was looking at it, I was like,
Yeah.
there's a particular senior operations manager there that used to like to play the golf game in the back, if you remember that.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
So to see that promotion happen and then to see other individuals get termed, right? So terminated for those who aren't a part of Amazon, but um, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say because that's pretty much the environment that they're creating there, and
Yeah.
so
Just just how it goes, yeah.
yep,
Yeah. I mean, but that's another form of discipline within itself. Staying disciplined when maybe some political stuff is going on, or some favoritism, or just overseeing, or however you want to
describe it.
say it, or yeah,
Yeah,
describe it. Um, a lot of times, what the universe got for them, got something greater for
karma.
you. So
Yep,
you look at what they got and be like, dang, I'm supposed to have that, and the universe looking at you like, bro, that ain't nothing. You supposed to have this,
exactly.
So all in all, man, yeah,
I can't believe you're back, man. I was like,
yeah,
because I was like, I was looking up on Adapt and stuff like that. I was like, man, is he? I don't know if he still works for Amazon. So,
I'm there, man. I'm in C-Rex now, so
oh, okay. Ugh.
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah.
I know.
So
I heard it changed though. That is one thing though.
the building,
Mm-hmm.
it's like pretty much most of it is C-Rex, and then you know how C-Rex used to have the little
Yeah,
spot. That's how Warehouse Deals is. They got like a little spot, and that's it. Well,
that
yeah,
place. That place is special, man. I will admit that.
yeah. I'm trying to get this started, man, so I don't gotta go there
No,
no more.
absolutely. Remember, like I said, dude, it really boils down to persistence, right? And then truly understanding what your strengths are, right? And like one great thing about you and why like we even got along is like you're personable, right? Like
Yeah,
I actually felt that I could come up to you and actually say something to you, right? As
yeah.
opposed to there's particular associates at Lost 2 that you're like you need to break down some walls before you be able to like
Say something to
have an
them.
actual conversation with them, you know?
Yeah,
And I don't know what it is about that place, but there's certain people that just like they don't know how to communicate with individuals there instead of treating them more like as a person as opposed to as a number, because
yeah,
that's really how it boiled down to. So I don't know
yeah.
what to say in terms of it.
Well, I feel like it is what it is, bro. It is what
No,
it is.
absolutely.
I mean, you go there. If you don't go there and you don't get treated like a number or a bot, you'll go somewhere else. And then, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
Exactly.
for me, I don't take it personal. I just take it more like they can't keep up with all of that. That's how,
Exactly.
I give them the benefit of the doubt. They can't keep up, man. So yeah. So one more question for you,
Sure.
Evan, before I let you go, man. If there's I always ask this question: Is there if there's an artist out there, or just let's take it away from the artist. If there's just a person out there that's looking to get started with something, a task,
Hmm.
something that means something near and dear to them, or just something that they've been wanting to do for a long time, but haven't built up the courage to do it. What would be a few words that you would tell them um to get them up off the couch and started, man?
I'll say it again. Persistence is everything in terms of it. Um, man, that's a very generic question with like multiple answers, right? So I'll try to do it this way. It really depends on what a person wants to do. That's definitely for sure. But setting goals is realistic goals at that,
Yeah,
right? That's super important, especially depending upon whatever ambition that they actually do have, right?
Yeah.
So let's take it from the perspective of music, right? Overly saturated space, right? Normally, of course, you need the necessary tools to develop lyrics, beats. What else? I wouldn't necessarily say financing, right? Not
Yeah.
not right off the bat,
Yeah.
because of course that comes, but you have to have the talent. Then again, you could be like what's the best parallel that I normally describe? Soldier Boy, for example.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he came into money, right? And then he became this big thing and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Now,
Yeah.
granted, he's obviously phased out completely just from some choice words that he had in regards to the military, for example. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember that.
Yeah.
Um,
He was saying a lot of stuff, so
yeah,
that
but he's prime example though of, at least to a certain degree, right? He definitely had. I'll say that he had talent, right? Because I think anybody that gets that big, other than the fact that maybe they come from money, they definitely know a certain way of gaming the system, right? So to go with that, right, and more of a caveat is like understanding your plan, right? A realistic plan, okay? But understanding as well, here's a better way of saying it this way. Know individuals that you absolutely consider to be like what you wish to be, right? So your what's the correct term for it? Your idols, right? So
role
your idols
models.
and
Yeah.
marrying off of them, right? So one thing that I know for a fact that I normally do is I looked at particular individuals that are already successful. One big one, Kobe Bryant. Okay, the one major reason why Kobe was uh, amazing, right, and a superstar was because what, his work ethic, right?
Yeah.
So persistence, to include that that persistence tapped into his recovery as well, right? He didn't just come back from Achilles tear, right? Just because like, oh, he's just Kobe Bryant, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, like he legitimately like
Oh.
nonstop rehabbing that you cannot believe. So that is one thing that I would tell anybody, especially if they're like, well, shit, I'm stuck in a rut, right? Know those idols that you like, right? And that you want to mirror, right? And then go off that, because most of their stuff is online, especially if they're like really, really superstar idols, right?
Yeah.
Normally they'll give you indicators like, hey, they wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So like prime example was Mark Wahlberg, right? So he has this like crazy routine where like he goes to sleep really late, right? Or in early. I forgot, here, maybe pull it up real quick just so that I could say.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. That what you're saying, man, is pretty much like first ask yourself, like, do I really even want to do this while I'm even bothering myself?
Yep,
First of all, and then all right, who didn't been through this already? Because I don't got to go through this alone.
exactly.
Yeah, that's tough.
So he says, okay, so typical daily schedule: 2:30 a.m. wake up, 2:45 prayer time, 3:15 breakfast, 3:40 to 5:15 workout, 5:30 post workout meal, 6 a.m. Shower, 7:30 golf, 8 snack, 9:30 cryo chamber recovery, 10:30 snack, 11 family time slash meeting slash work calls, 1 p.m. is lunch, 2 is meetings work calls, 3 pick up kids at school, 3:30 snack, 4 workout number 2, 5 shower, 5:30 dinner family time, 7:30 bedtime. Like that.
So he wakes up at two in the a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, that's according to that's what he says. He says that that is his daily routine, and it's crazy though because it's like he is successful. I'm not going to deny that. I don't think anybody could really deny that Marky Mark is successful, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but that right there is pure indicators, though. Like, hey, if it works for him, it probably works for somebody else, right?
Somebody, yeah, definitely.
For I would never do that personally, right?
Yeah, 2:30 is like wow.
But that it works for him. So
Yeah,
anybody that's stuck in a rut, you got to know exactly what has been successful for other people, right? Because at this point, especially with how easy information is to access, right, at our fingertips with our cell phones, right?
Yeah.
Like it's too simple now, right? But it once again comes down to persistence, right? You need to be absolutely humble, right? Because when you take a hard fall, right, and you're like super overly arrogant, man, do you really fall, right?
Fall the hardest.
Yeah, absolutely. And like for some people don't recover from it, and like it's sad, right? Maybe a little bit of karma as well. So that's one thing that I would tell everybody, at least from those individuals that are absolutely stuck in a rut. Though, mirror what other people already have done, right? Now,
Yeah.
of course, like don't do copyright infringement or anything like that, or trademark infringement or anything like
Yeah.
that. But there is particular traits that they have that you absolutely can emulate, right? Hell, anybody could do it too, right?
Definitely.
It's
I think the best people are the people that do exactly what you say. Even like Kobe, like how he was just so detailed on what Mike did, and
absolutely.
he looked at what he did, and it kind of in my eyes, I feel like it made Kobe's career easier because
Oh, absolutely.
you know what I'm saying. He knew exactly what he needed to do to get to the championship and to be a champion, to be a fierce scorer, to lead his team, all of that. Like, and that was all from watching people like Mike, Bill Russell, different people that he
Yep.
looked up to. So
Yep.
it's all it's all the same thing, man. I feel like, but it goes back to the same thing we were talking about before. It's just discipline and taking out the ego, because a lot of people already feel like, man, I'm doing music, I'm better than Jay-Z. A
Yeah,
lot of
exactly.
a
Yep.
lot of people would sit there and say that, like, I'm already better than Jay-Z. And it's like, all right, man, he a billion he $1 billion ahead of you, but you better than him though.
You got to be humble, right?
Yeah,
Got to stay
gotta be.
humble. It's crazy though, man. And like even for you and why I freaking loved you when I first met you, right, man,
Yeah,
is the fact that like I didn't get the vibe where it's like this guy is so full of himself that I can't talk to him, right?
yeah,
And generally speaking, that is pretty much every individual that was at Lost 2. I probably wouldn't honestly talk to them if they came off really arrogant, right?
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like,
definitely. I'm good.
honestly, you're not worth my time, And of course, unless like you worked under me or anything like that, then yes, of course, everybody we're still family. But those individuals that are truly arrogant, especially the toxic ones that would drown other people just to get ahead. Oh, that was a huge pet peeve.
Yeah,
That place is a stomping ground for backstabbers. It's crazy, and it's just
that's
like,
that's the culture.
yep,
That's the
it's
culture.
horrible, man. And there's particular individuals that they definitely allow that to happen, especially from the top. I think there needs to be accountability for all, right? And yeah, that's what it really boils down to.
Yeah,
A lot of finger pointing there.
yeah. Definitely, man. No, bro. I appreciate you, man, for coming on, bro. We're gonna talk a little bit after we start recording. I got a few
Sure,
questions to ask you,
sure.
but for everybody that's listening, Evan's bonus episode will be available via all podcast streaming platforms and via our YouTube channel, Real Chances Studio Network. Um, Evan, I don't know if you are big on the socials, but if you want to plug your socials for people to follow you, or nah, you good?
I don't normally do it, but I'm definitely open to like helping other individuals out.
Okay.
I don't think it's to help a cause or anything like that. And I trust me, man. I do notice all the stuff that happens on social media, right? So noticing your particular post or anything like that, like I keep track of it. But most people don't know that. But I'm like kind of in the closet, uh similar to like how the joke is about trolls, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, the troll in the shadow, stuff like that. No, I like, in all honesty though, I enjoy watching individuals, especially from the same walks of life, right, actually doing something productive, right? And once again, man, that persistence is key, right? And I was
Definitely,
like, fucking get it, dude. I saw it.
definitely.
That's why I was like, when you reached out, I was like, absolutely, man.
Yeah, bro. I try to give him something every Sunday, bro. Every Sunday, I
Yep.
try to stay on top of it. I missed only one Sunday since October, so I've been doing pretty good
Gotcha.
as
Yeah.
far as that. But yeah, man. Like I say, bro, I appreciate you and everybody that's listening. We appreciate you guys too. This is another episode of Always Chance It, brought to you by Real Chances Studio Network, a network that's nice as dice and full of opportunities. Checking in and checking out.